Episode 7, Plan B. Now that Quentin is aware of his little passenger, Niffin Alice is making it her entire goal to torment Quentin every single waking moment. Julia and Katie go to Katie's mom's connection, which happens to be at a Korean butcher's, where a mudang is able to exorcise Julia's little trickster. But it comes at high cost of 1 million in gold. They obviously don't have that, and they're gonna need to rob a bank. While they're staking out a bank, Julia and Katie end up getting attacked by some invisible creature, but luckily, the Haxon Paxton is still around and saves their lives, but at the cost of its own. They end up going to Break Bills for help and find out that Julia's problem is getting very complicated in the fact that the fetus has entwined itself with her spirit. The only thing now that can deal with it is a mudang, the same one that's charging 1 million in gold. Julia ends up staying at the physical kid's cottage in order to stay protected behind the wards, and she goes to Quentin saying, "Hey, can you help us rob this bank?" And Alice is like, "You better do this. I won't stop tormenting you if you don't do this," because she wants to rob a bank. In Fillory, Margot finds out it was a very bad idea to declare war because they're flat out broke. Her and Elliot end up coming to Break Bills in order to try to figure out their money situation. Penny ends up running into Katie at Break Bills as he's on his little Mayakovsky item quest. And now the gang's back together, but this time they're gonna rob a bank. As the only one with prior bank robbing experience, Margot gives everybody the lowdown. All banks have both regular and magical security measures. It takes 2 managers to get into a vault. After they scan their fingers simultaneously, the wards go down and they have 10 minutes to enter in the combination code to the vault. Magicians robbing a bank triggers battle magicians who will shoot first and ask questions never. And the entire vault is an anti-traveler sigil, but it only goes off if you touch the ground, so all you have to do is just not touch the ground, hence a gravity belt. As one of the mudangs is the reason that goblins are being sent after Julia to guarantee that the fetus doesn't get born, Julia can't actively participate in the bank robbery. She has to stay behind Break Bill's wards and ends up working on one of Richard's old spells, the quarterback, which gives the user the ability to turn back time 15 seconds. Ocean's 11 time. Katie and Quentin work to get the fingerprints from the 2 managers. After that, they release bees into the bank in order to get everybody to evacuate. And when the bank calls in exterminators, they show up and are able to get in posing as exterminators. But there was one slight miscalculation in the fact that 2 of the security guards, before the bees went off, sort of went into a closet for some little private time. So after they come in and scan their fingers to get the wards to come down so Penny can get into the vault, the security guards come out and are like, this is strange, something's going on. But before the guards are able to call for backup, Elliot luckily has a magic disco ball, which forces them into an impromptu dance battle that leads them out of the building. Back on track, Penny is now inside the vault and loading up the bag with gold. The only thing is, gold is really heavy, and so it keeps weighing him down and getting him closer and closer to touching the floor, and he keeps having to readjust the gravity belt, pushing him up so that he doesn't touch the floor accidentally. But he accidentally touches the floor, and now he's trapped inside the vault. At the end of 10 minutes, a battle magician is going to show up, and it's going to be game over. Between Elliot, Katie, and Quentin, none of them know how to break the vault door open, especially given that they're on a time crunch. But luckily for them, Quentin's little secret, Alice, does know how to break down the vault, in exchange for 30 minutes with Quentin's body. Quentin hastily agrees because they're on a time crunch and there isn't really anything else they can do, and Alice writes down the spell that then Quentin performs and opens the bank vault just at the moment that the 10 minutes are up and the battle magician shows up. Julia, safely behind Breakbill's wards, has been watching this go down and realizes that she's gonna have to show up with her impromptu time machine. She shows up outside the bank with Margot and says, "Hey guys, you got 4 rewinds to get out of this alive. You better make it count." The first 3 attempts to get away from the battle magician end poorly. Finally, on the last attempt, they are able to make it mostly unscathed, with only Elliot taking a hit, but luckily he's an L golem, so that doesn't take him out. It just means that back in Fillory, his body starts seizing. Since Julia is outside the wards again, the goblins show up and attack her, but luckily, they now have the 1,000,000 gold to pay the Mudang, and they are able to get the exorcism done. There was just one minor complication.